Mark,
Yes.
what's going on?
Yes. We're here.
Yes, we are here. We are up to the penultimate issue of Dark Crisis,
So
number
good.
6 of 7. It was so good. We will tell you how good it was right after this. Okay, so this is DC Comics Dark Crisis Deep Dive. I'm Paul Cook. He is Mark from Legion of Comics. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're notified whenever we drop new content. We are in the home stretch of Dark Crisis now.
This is it. Only a couple books left to go.
Yeah. This is actually number 6 of 7 of Dark Crisis, the Dark Crisis proper title. And it kind of picks up in a lot of ways, where the last one ended, but there's so much going on in this comic. So many things that I looked at and I said, I know where that's from. That looks very familiar. But we'll get through it all.
All the way down to the cover.
Exactly. This is a callback to, I can't remember which issue it is, but it's a callback to Crisis on
Right.
Infinite Earths.
Yeah. With the answer
Um,
monitor and everyone coming at him.
exactly. Exactly. They've done a lot. They've done an homage cover every single issue, too, calling back to different crises
Yeah,
as well.
this one over me, that's Infinite Crisis #1
Correct.
that you
Correct.
mentioned.
Um, so, I just really love that when they can pull little things from history. And it's like you don't need to know that to enjoy it, but to me, it just kind of gives that extra kind of oomph to really kind of
Mhm.
and say that, how respectful they are, and they really are kind of rewarding people who have been long time readers.
And it
So
shows how much that the writer knows and the writer cares and the time it shows the time that they're putting into it.
yes, exactly. So we start off right. We're with the Green Lantern Corps. When we start off the issue, and they're at the Black Lantern, and they basically all get sucked into the black. They go into the Black Lantern to try and fight the black demons or whatever you want to call them that are in the Black Lantern.
Yeah, they've been guarding it this whole time, just waiting on a call to action, and they received that call to action from Mister Terrific.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And then we're given two black pages with just the internal dialogue that's going on inside Pariah's head again.
Yeah, he's crazy. Cat's out of the bag. This dude's lost it.
Exactly. And he's basically, he is basically saying that he's won. In his in his eyes, he has won because he has recreated the multiverse. The only thing that he has to do in order for him to truly win, from what he says, is he needs to somehow destroy Earth Zero because that was the Earth that was created at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths. And so, if he brings back the multiverse, he's got to get rid of the Earth that was created on Crisis on Infinite Earths. And so that's basic. But that's where all the heroes live now.
Yeah, that's him
So,
atoning for his sins for
right,
kicking off the
exactly,
original crisis. He's trying to set events back how they were. It's not. It's not going to work.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so we see all the heroes fighting on Earth Zero, and Pariah and Deathstroke have this dialogue with each other that basically ends with. Deathstroke saying, if you want bodies, I'll give you bodies. Basically.
Yeah, and you have like Deathstroke kind of starting to realize that he isn't going to get what he wants from this as well.
Right.
Like
Right.
though he's under control, it is still Deathstroke in there.
hmm there is a great panel, a scene of Garfield Logan, Changeling, battling Deathstroke in there as well. Um,
Full on
you know,
werewolf mode.
yeah, Garfield goes to full werewolf on Deathstroke. So, and basically says that he's sick of him hurting his family, which is the Titans, of course. Um, but Deathstroke, of course, in his Deathstroke way, says, basically, I haven't hurt him yet. This time they're going to die. And so then we cut back to where Pariah's base of operations, which is, they call it worlds away from Earth Zero. And this is where the Justice League have all come together.
Yeah, which is pretty
Uh,
cool because they're still in their forms from the one shots, a world without a Justice League. So you get like the Clockwork, Batman, the Knight. You get the
Correct.
horrible Wonder Woman. You get the Green Lantern is like a full energy construct almost. Cool stuff.
Hmm. And then we get a really what I think is knowing now that Green Arrow is going to have his own series. I think is a really telling, monologue from him about basically what it means to be a Justice League, and basically that just because you don't think you can win doesn't mean you don't fight.
Yeah. And I like how he's looking stoically into the multiverse as he's going through this too.
Right. Um, and he says that even though he's the greatest archer in the world, missing is always a possibility that may come to him. And he says, but that would never stop me from taking that shot, and not just to save my loved ones, but also strangers, anyone that needs our help. And I know that each and every one of you would do the same. That's what makes us the Justice League. So it's not heroes that makes us the Justice League. It's the people and what the people are willing to do
That willingness.
make it Justice League.
And he gave this rallying speech because they think they've discovered a way to get back to Earth Zero, and they're going to use the Flash and Green Lantern. They're going to use Green Lantern's ability to give a little extra energy push, and then the Flash's ability to manipulate hyper time to try to hop skip through there. But it's dangerous. It's dangerous, and we might not make it. And that's when Green Arrow gave that call. Now, I'm going to tell you, I read this digital before I read it on paper, and the colors pop on digital. That moment when Barry and Hal connect, like it just, they do their thing. It was very vibrant. If I got to say anything to people who've never read a comic digital, give it a try. Like, I still do the paper thing. I just get impatient. I want to read them before the shop opens some days. But yeah, that scene was awesome when they, in Brightest Day, Run Barry Run, when they used each other's slogans and they just reached out and the energy just takes over all of them. And of course, you see Green Arrow and Black Canary grab hands, which I thought was great.
And so now we're back to the Justice League. Sorry. They are fighting all of the. Yeah, exactly. We have Deathstroke, basically, who is tearing apart Frankenstein.
Yeah, Darkseid. Yeah, you turn the page from this, overly hopeful moment in this rallying speech, and you turn the page and you just get Darkseid holding Frankenstein in two different pieces, screaming. I'm like, whoa, we're back. We're back.
Right. But if anybody can be put back together, I'm betting it's Frankenstein.
He would be the one to do it.
Yeah. And we find the Titans fighting alongside. We see the Batman from I Am Batman.
Jace.
Can't think of his name right now. Jace, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has joined now. If you read I Am Batman number 15, you see why he decides now to come join. Because if you remember at the beginning of this, he basically said he wanted nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
But now he's here. And he's fighting alongside. And we see Blue Beetle, and we see Steel and everyone. And we see basically the return of Pariah now. And he says, worlds will live, worlds will die, the famous Crisis tagline. And we say Pariah is open for the Justice League. And basically what they do is Pariah basically delivers this bolt that seemingly destroys Firestorm and Blue Beetle, and I'm trying to think of who else was there.
Connor, Steel.
Right, yeah, right.
So it's the same thing that he did to the Justice League back in Justice League issue 75. They do that disintegration thing that Barry originally did in the original Crisis. So it looks like the more heroes that he's able to dissolve like that, the more power it feeds him. Because as soon as he dissolves them, he says, "Oh, great darkness, I hear you. You're right. It's working. My dark army, bring me more heroes."
Mm-hmm.
So that was it's kind of a nice little build-up with those heroes returning, giving their big rally cry, and you turn the page and they're gone just like that.
Right. And so there we go, and we see Jonathan Kent with Black Adam and Wonder Girl, and they're basically still fighting, and then John decides that he's going to take on Darkseid in one of the best moments of the issue.
Yeah, easily probably one of the best moments in a while. John's running some distraction. He's taking on the full Dark Army here so that the rest of the people can kind of get an out. They've decided that they've got Pariah's machine, the machine that we found in the Deadly Green that was
Mm-hmm.
inside of the darkness. And Mr. Terrific thinks that he's got an idea to kind of retrofit it to use it against Pariah. So John goes out and gives them their opening to do what they need to do by taking on the entire Dark Army by himself. And the big called a job for Superman. And man, it's a fight. It is a slobber knocker.
It is, and we have Swamp Thing, and we have Captain Atom fighting alongside as well, and we get Black Adam, who decides he's going to enter the battle as well, and he says, "If today we die, then I will die fighting."
Yeah, they're going in hard, and you got everybody kind of just get knocked out quick.
Right. And so Jonathan is also becomes a victim of Darkseid's Omega beams, and so he's basically lying there, and he sees something in his mind. He sees his father over his bed, basically telling him that I want to help you make the I want to help you make that ash your own. So he says, I want to help you make that ash your own. And then he sees his mother. He hears his mother in another thought that basically says, you have the best of both worlds inside you. You can be great. Choose to be. That to me is a huge thing because that is a call out to Superman 78. That is basically something that Marlon Brando says to Clark in Superman 78. He talks about humanity and Earthlings. He says they can be great. Choose to be. And so that's a call out to Superman 78, which I thought was just phenomenal. So we get, he basically just continues to fight. He basically is doing everything he can on his own. He ends up on the ground, but then basically he says he's fighting with Pariah, and Pariah basically becomes a victim of his own machine, and he basically ends up disappearing inside a blast from his own machine.
Yeah, he does the whole fadeaway thing. They use the machine to disconnect him from the darkness. They pretty much put him in a cube, and you see him fade away. And my curse is over, finally. So it looks like we might be rid of Pariah in this. Again, losing that connection to the darkness might have been all it took to really just leave him to his demise. You know, he didn't have enough juice left in the tank to exist.
Right, and then we see a panel of Mr. Terrific saying the dark army's power is fading, but it's not gone. And in that panel, we see a very familiar-looking Batman figure. It's a call out again to the way Bob Kane drew Batman. So that was pretty cool as well. And then we find Jonathan again laying there, basically saying that I hope that his dad would be proud of him.
Yeah, this was rough.
It was.
This was real rough. Like we've had panels of him just getting slammed by the Dark Army. The Omega beams, Doomsday's fist through his stomach, and he still rears up, screaming, clothes torn, fighting. And now we found him on his knees, just tattered, bloody. And so I hope my dad would be proud. And you see Black Adam, though. Black Adam, who's been badgering this kid to step up and do what you have to do. Black Adam just watched him do that. And now Black Adam is hauling tail, trying to get to him, trying to save him. There's just too many. Black Adam gets stopped, and John just kind of puts a half smile on his face and says, I bought them time. I hope you're proud of me, Dad, all while Doomsday's charging him reared back. And then we get the greatest moment for me, probably all year in comics. And you turn the page,
right,
and you get that.
Just as the blow is about to hit John, you see Clark there. Clark stopping the blow.
And what's so great about that is if you look at John behind his father, his cape is even blowing back from the impact of that catch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, that was like the greatest catch of comics all year. It was awesome. That was the moment for me where I threw my hands up and just screamed. Like, that was it.
Right. And then they both basically take one more shot at at Doomsday, and they both basically punch him, and God knows where he goes. Um, but that
Absolutely.
yeah, but that's when Jonathan realizes that his father is alive, and he basically he hears his father say to him, "You kept things safe while we found our way home." And he says, He said it took a few. We took a few detours, but, and then that's when you see the Justice League returning, the Green Lantern Corps returning. Everyone is back. Everyone except for maybe one. But we basically see everyone is back. Um, and they just basically, it's just becomes all out war between everyone that is back now. Um,
The core of the Green Lanterns, the Amazons are all there.
yep,
You see the rogues.
yep. Everyone is back in their regular costumes, not the ones that they had in the prior world. So everyone is back, and so we then see again a big all-out war, and basically done in basically about 2 pages. Um, but then we find at the very end that there's Deathstroke is now going to be the one in issue number 7 who's going to be the big bad, and he has Nightwing by the back of the neck. And he's like, "I'm not done until all of you are dead."
Yeah, he's on a mission.
Yeah,
I like how he still has the darkness, the energy from it seeping out of his body. The chains are still on him, so the connection's not severed yet.
right, right. So I thought this was just an incredible issue for a next to last issue, because obviously you're going to want to tie everything up, but also, you know, put everything forward into the dawn of the DCU that's coming up as well. Um, but yeah, I don't think Joshua Williamson, really, to me, has not made a misstep in any of the issues that he's written so far.
No, he's done a great job. Like this event too, and it's one of those all things considered moments, and even then, it really doesn't matter. This book kind of exists on its own. It's not like rolling with the current continuity stuff, but it's just really hit. He's proven that he can really juggle this amount of characters, this amount of locations. He's got a great understanding and a great voice for each character individually. He just he knows his DC, man. He knows his storytelling, and he must have had a great vision for this. And it's really, really worth the read. And what's been super great about it is if only the only thing you read is the main title proper, you're not left in the weeds. It's
Right.
you can absolutely just read that main title proper if you want to go back and check this out.
Yeah, and we found out last week about some of the titles that are coming up, in the first half of next year, and he's bringing a lot of those characters to the forefront, like Hal Jordan, the Green Lanterns, Green Arrow. A lot of those characters he's really taking some time to kind of focus on, if only for a brief time. He at least is focusing on them, so that it, to me, it won't come out of nowhere next year when they suddenly have their own title. There'll be something. There'll be some backstory behind it.
Yeah, there'll be something to build off of.
Right.
Yeah, great issue.
Really was. But that's going to do it for this edition of DC Comics Dark Crisis Deep Dive. As always, I am Paul, and
I'm Mark.
but we are Legion.
You're now leaving Sector 2815.